The Matrix realm. The Matrix realm. Now, yeah, this is truly a spiritual message, and what you gotta understand about this stuff is that this stuff is truly just not for everybody, and everybody will not even be believing in this and all that stuff, And I don't have anything to do with all that. But yeah, the Matrix realm, and yeah, this is deep right here. And yes, this is dealing with many aspects of the Matrix too, but there's many things within, the Matrix realm, and you know, everything. Just I want to say everything, just that concerns this matter, the Matrix, in the Matrix realm. This is a very real realm too. And yeah, humbly speaking, I have been through it too with God. And see, what you gotta understand is everybody will not be going through this or anything like that. No. This is one of those realms where it's just like it's a realm that truly exists concerning the spirit realm, and yeah, it's within the earth realm. Don't get me wrong, but like it's just like everybody will not be going through this realm though. That's the thing about this stuff. And God's elect, God's elect, and certain beings and people who God has, truly picked, and who God has interest in. He will bring in realms similar to this. I will say that. It may not even be this realm specifically, but it will be realms similar. And He's truly leading me to say this stuff too. And everybody else, you will just be very much outside of this, and under God's wrath, because this stuff is deep. And yeah. But the Matrix realm, yeah. See, this is just a very intense realm, and see, this is spiritual. This is very spiritual. That's what you gotta understand about the Matrix realm. And see, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna get into this matter because I have been through this realm. And yeah, humbly speaking, once again, I don't, this is just not for everybody. Is all I'm really saying. Everybody will not be going through it or nothing like that. You got to understand that stuff. That God's elect will be going through similar realms, and everybody else, no, you're done. I'm being very real. And yeah, because you got to understand, this stuff is about God and the devil. And souls and eternity. That's what this stuff has to deal with. But see, the Matrix realm, it is a very real realm, and it's consisting of exactly what this is sounding like, but more or less just a very real realm that that I've been through. And I'm about to, give you certain things that God leads me to say concerning this. But yeah, the Matrix realm, it's pretty much, dealing with like, the Matrix overall. And yeah, see, mellow speaking, yeah, I mean, I did encounter, I want to say, certain people too, and all this deep stuff too concerning the spirit realm. And see, the Matrix realm is dealing with the unseen. It's dealing with people who are in the Matrix, and it's dealing with fans too, if I'm being real. And this is not necessarily of me or anything. No, it's not what this is about. This is dealing with the Matrix too, believe it or not. It's dealing with fans of, the Matrix. It's dealing with people in the Matrix, stuck in the Matrix. And see, what you gotta understand is the Matrix is dealing with the unseen, and it's dealing with, the earth realm too, believe it or not. And see, it's dealing with, souls under the Matrix and in the Matrix, and just outside of God too. That's what this is dealing with too, And see, as I'm being led by the Spirit, yeah, I did go through this realm with God too. He wants me to share this, for His specific purposes. So, because I just do what He tells me to do by the Spirit, and see, everything is not for you people, and everybody will not be believing in this and all that stuff. That's fine. That's fine. I don't have anything to do with that. But what I'm telling you is that this stuff is real, and yeah, the Matrix too. The Matrix is very real though. And, many beings are, I want to say programmed concerning in the Matrix and, overall under Satan's programming. And that's what this is really dealing with as well. And, I encountered many things concerning in the Matrix realm, Neo too. Speaking of the Matrix, because there's many, I want to say things concerning this stuff as far as this realm. And Mello speaking too. Yeah, I did encounter Neo too. I encountered him concerning in the realm of the spirit is what I'm saying. And I can't share everything because everything is not for you people. But what I will say is, I did encounter him. And and not only him too, some other people who are part of the Matrix, the trainer of Neo and all this deep stuff too. I encounter him too. And overall, red pill, blue pill, and all that stuff too. You people may get caught up with that stuff. And I guess that's just more or less a relevant thing concerning, surrounding Neo and the trainer and, all these other, people, surrounding this stuff. And overall, I encountered him concerning the realm of the spirit and many other beings too. But Neo, I can't get into everything because everything is just not for you people too. But, I'm just being led by the Spirit. But I did encounter him and, once again, his trainer, and all this stuff too. And, basically, I'm just going in this realm with God, and it's very intense too, because you gotta understand that Satan is, still, in the midst of things too, concerning the earth realm and concerning, this realm. But see, this realm was dealing with, God is leading me to share certain things, I seen once again, the fans of the Matrix, and I seen, different, I want to say charts and certain posters of these Matrix, these certain people a part of the Matrix too. It's exactly how it sounds too. That's what I'm talking about, that. And also, other concepts of the Matrix too. And I'm about to get into these things by the Spirit. But, I just saw a lot of posters and, just a lot of, high ranked, posters and, stuff like that. And what I mean by high ranked posters is some posters that pretty much just charts of, certain things that were accomplished concerning, the Matrix overall. And, considering Neo and, the trainer and all these other different people that are part of, the Matrix stuff. And overall, just getting more in depth with this. I was going through this realm and, once again, I did encounter Neo and a couple other people who are part of this stuff, the Matrix. And I'm not gonna lie to you people. This stuff is very intense, and what you gotta understand is, very many attacks concerning the devil within this realm. And overall, God was just showing me different things that the devil was doing concerning, these people too, which you gotta understand. And the devil just, was using different beings and people and fans to come up against, the Matrix, and these participants of the Matrix too, and many fans, and many, haters too, is what you gotta understand too. Many haters were, haters of the Matrix and all that deep stuff too. And see, the enemy just pretty much the enemy was just pretty much traveling in the realm of the spirit, um, pretty much, not only attacking, but just trying to get me from going through the realm. But see, I was going through the matrix realm with God, of course, so he's bringing me through, he's showing me, because I am a very much, you could say like a fan of this stuff too. But see, this stuff is deep because it's spiritual, and this stuff in this realm is like, it's very spiritual, and it's also very real. But see, humbly speaking, once again, everybody will not be going through this or anything like that. But what I'm telling you is, it is the real realm. And yeah, I mean, it's really dealing with, like I said, God just doing many things concerning souls, and concerning with haters, and with these particular people too, believe it or not. And see, the matrix realm, once again, the devil, is just traveling throughout the spirit. And, he's just doing things concerning souls. Excuse me. And, yeah, I mean, the matrix realm, many things taking place once again, man. And see, as I'm just being led by the spirit, yeah, I mean, seen a lot of things concerning, once again, different fans, and different, like, certain, certain things, I'm limited on what I can share concerning this. But I mean, what I will say is, yeah, Neo, and, the trainer of Neo, and all these other people, very much are aware of, God too. Is what you gotta understand, God. And, they're just in certain standings with God too, these people, and, these certain beings, because you gotta realize too that, the fans and all the stuff of this stuff, what you gotta understand is that they're on the outside looking in concerning stuff. But see, these people, these matrix, people and stuff like that, who, pretty much are breaking the matrix, or, going through a certain course of things to, pretty much, do these matters. You gotta understand is God and the devil are in the midst of, this stuff. That's all I'm saying, this realm. And, yeah, overall, God was just showing me how, like, the fans are outside looking in, and they don't know how hard it was to, get things into fruition concerning the matrix, and concerning, just all this stuff, It's because, the fans and all these other beings and lost souls, they're outside of, I want to say, reality. They're outside of reality. They're outside of, God too. That's what you gotta understand. They're outside of God, and overall outside of God's kingdom too. So what you gotta understand is too, Neo, I want to say Neo, his trainer, and these other participants of, the matrix overall, and just all the stuff like that. They're not, is what you gotta understand. Now they are in certain standings with God, but see, everything is not for you people. But what I will say is that, they are in certain, they're in certain standings with God. And, that's just, between God and, them, and overall what God is doing. But what I will say is that, I mean, pretty much the matrix realm, it's dealing with, many souls, and what God is just pretty much doing on a supernatural level concerning the devil, and concerning, the programming of the earth, of Satan's, programming. Pretty much God is intervening with Satan concerning, the programming that he has, caused upon, I want to say humanity, and just, the earth realm. And see, God is unplugging his certain elect, I would say his elect, and his spiritual followers. God is unplugging his, and unprogramming is what I meant to say as well. He's unprogramming his people from, the matrix, and from, Satan's matrix too. That's what you gotta understand. And, That's what God was showing me in this realm, and many things I was encountering with the devil. And it's a heavy price going through this realm too, because God has to bring you through this realm, or in anything similar to this. That's what I'm saying. You're not getting through this realm without God. The God of Israel is who I'm referring to. But yeah, overall, these people are, these matrix people too. They're in certain standings with God, and, these fans and these certain people and these souls, they have no idea about this stuff. They just, they see things on the surface. And, many critics, there's always critics and people talking, but they don't understand the spiritual aspect of everything coming into fruition, considering and concerning with this matrix stuff too, and the matrix, and these people who brought this into fruition too. What you gotta understand is that these people were under much attack too, is what you gotta understand. That's all I'm really saying. And all I can say is, as I'm being led by God, what I will say is that these people are in certain standings with God, and it's up to Him. It's up to God, the Father, what He does with specific beings. I'm not here to be saying all that type of stuff concerning certain things with that, because the God of Israel's in the midst and overall in control of everything. But what I'm telling you is that the matrix realm is dealing with God just unplugging his elect, his chosen people, and also people who He has interest in the spirit realm. And on a spiritual level, God is just unplugging and unprogramming His people, to break the matrix and break out of the matrix and fulfill their purpose in Him, and fulfill their soul contract and all this deep stuff, as I'm being led by the Spirit, and fulfill their purpose and overall their destiny too, all this deep stuff, and I'm being led by the Spirit with this. And everybody else, they just will remain in the matrix and, perish too. They will perish, and many souls will be in hell and the lake of fire, and everybody who God does not spare by His grace and mercy, man, they're done. That's what I'm saying. And even with that, though, as I mentioned before, being spared by God's grace and mercy is still a scarce thing, because God, the Father, can still just, overall reject you. And that's the thing, so that's still a scarce thing. See, I don't have any parts in that stuff. But, I'm just telling you, about the Spirit. But yeah, about to close this out. So yeah, the matrix realm is very deep. And the matrix realm, these people are in that realm too, is what you gotta understand. And I've seen this deeply in the Spirit, and was going through this realm. I literally was going through this realm, is what I'm saying. And, I was bear witnessing with these certain people, a part of the matrix too, but I can't, share every last thing. But this ain't for everybody or anything like that. But what I'm telling you is the matrix is real. And the matrix is already in effect, and it's deeper than, it's deeper than what's on the surface concerning this stuff too. But yeah, God's elect, we are already, shielded from just being programmed in the matrix or, anything like that. But yeah, the matrix is very real. And overall, God, the Father, is just in control of everything coming into fruition. That's all I'm really saying. And God, the Father, is the creator. That's what you got to understand. God, the Father. And so with all that being said, though, the matrix realm, it's a very intense realm. I've seen many things too, certain things God is not allowing me to share for some specific reason. But what I will say is, it is real. And these people are very much aware of things concerning God too, and judgment too, and I'm about to get closer to closing this out. But they're just in certain standings with God, and that's all I can say, and God is leading me to say this. And many souls will just be under the matrix, in the matrix, and more or less just under Satan's matrix, is what you gotta understand. And many souls will be programmed, and many beings will just be under the programming of Satan's matrix as well. And overall, this realm is dealing with Satan, fans, and concerning the matrix is what I'm saying. And it's dealing with just souls and, how everything came into fruition concerning the Matrix and overall. And yeah, so everybody who's obsessed with, the Matrix and, you need to be obsessed with God. You need to be obsessed with getting God and repentance, if I'm being real, because your soul is on the line for you certain specific people this applies to, and everybody else, they're just under God's wrath, under God's judgment, and just will be handed over to the enemy. And that's all I can say, by God the Father. So everybody who's in the Matrix, a lot of beings are meant to be a part of the programming, deception, spiritual blindness, spiritual bondage. All this stuff is designed by God for his specific reasons, and also these certain beings and people's intentions. You got to understand that God, he's in control. So what you got to understand, God the Father. And he's in the midst of everything being brought into fruition. And that's what I've seen concerning the Matrix realm. And I've seen many other deep things too, because a lot of that stuff is, somewhat real, but it's not what you people think on the surface. Because overall this stuff is about God the Father, and that's what you gotta understand. And his son too. But overall, yeah. I've seen many things in the Matrix realm, and I did meet certain people too, including once again Neo and the trainer guy, and some other beings, and overall, God the Father. Once again, he's just the creator of everything concerning everything being brought into fruition. And I'm getting closer to closing this out too, of course. But as far as Neo doing certain things too, everything is not necessarily reality people, but overall God uses certain things to reach certain people. So that's what you gotta understand. But overall, God the Father is very real, and his judgment is too. That's what this is getting to. And see, these people who are a part of it, the Matrix and stuff like that, they're aware of that stuff too. That's what you gotta understand. But the people outside, just fans and all this stuff, and all these other souls and lost souls, they're not aware of, God the Father and judgment, or they're not aware of why this stuff is even coming into fruition concerning the Matrix. And many people don't even know what the Matrix is. That's what you gotta understand. They hear about it and all that stuff, and they still just can't perceive it because, they're not spiritual and they're not meant to get it, and all that stuff. But overall, the Matrix is very real, and the devil, has people programmed and, in bondage, and spiritual bondage, mental bondage. Their souls are in bondage by him and the Matrix. And, the red pill or blue pill is a real matter too. And God wants me to express all these things too, as I'm getting closer to closing this out. On a spiritual level, pretty much the red pill is, the blood of Jesus. And see, the blue pill, it's pretty much just purity. It's representing purity, and it's representing, God's purity too, because God is holy. And it also is representing his son's purity too, because Jesus Christ is, he was a perfect man, and he still is. And, and that's what this is on a spiritual level concerning the Matrix. This has nothing to do with all this other stuff, all this other stuff that you people, take part in of meaning of things. It has nothing to do with the surface. I'm telling you the spiritual aspect of this. And, So, with all that being said though, the stuff is deep, and, the Matrix realm is very real. Certain things are like, certain things are just, very much prohibited as well too. So, there's many more things I've seen in this realm, but, I'm limited on what I can share, but I've shared the best that I can concerning what God is leading me to share. And overall, Neo did do a lot of supernatural stuff too concerning, that stuff, pretty much jumping out of, the earth realm and, slowing things down, all that stuff. It is all that stuff is somewhat real on a supernatural level. But see, God the Father is in the midst of this, and the devil is too, believe it or not. So but it's not what you people think like on the surface. No, God the Father is still in control, and he's still, his judgment still remains, and he's still, God the Father is still destroying many people, and he, his judgment is upon these people who are part of the Matrix, Neo, everybody, trainer guy, all these people, I already told you they're aware of it too, concerning, the judgment of God and all the stuff and just God overall. So yeah, with all that being said, yeah, I'm out.